Well, welcome. This is an honor to be here.
How y'all doing? It's good to be home.
Yeah, I just wanted to give you a little reminder of our town.
You got it. Let's wear it.
That has, yeah, please do. It actually, if you look at that on the front, you will recognize the building.
This was built with ABC money.
I'm not going to use that.
We appreciate that.
One ABC store in North Carolina.
We used to have police out there directing traffic on Friday, Saturday, and not Sunday.
Traffic, back up.
Yeah, right, exactly. But if you recognize the building.
Yes, you can park at the.
Let's put it
It's
on.
the school building.
Yeah, you put it on for me. Put it on through the slot or something.
Now you're talking.
What's this? Man, put it up here. Is there a slot over there?
301.
No, there's no slide. Webpage.
Do it.
Yeah.
Where are we going?
Right here.
I'm Catherine.
Hey, Catherine, I'm Pat. Nice to
Thank
see
you
you.
very much. Sorry. Have to conduct business.
That's right.
I'm rolling right now. Take a little distance with the mic.
Okay.
I'll be ready to go.
That's where I went to 5th grade.
That's right. I
Yeah.
thought we put it in a shot.
They tore down the back classroom that I was in, but I remember the locker rooms down in the basement there. I did an interview there.
Yeah, I was telling them earlier, when we did this story, the profile of Jamestown, we were in there and
Yeah.
she took us upstairs and it's where they have some of the artifacts.
Yeah, I've been up there.
Yeah.
It's pretty neat.
Yeah,
It's a
there's,
historic town.
yeah, it really is really neat.
The old gym's still in the back.
I played that gym many
Yes, you
times,
did.
missed a shot at the buzzer to win the championship. 9th grade. My brother still reminds me of that. He threw me the pass. He said, I haven't thrown you a pass since. That's a great gym.
It is.
It still has the same smell in it that it had 50 years ago. It was 50 years ago. I was 9 years old. Yeah, it's about 49 to 50 years ago when I played basketball in that thing. God almighty. Okay.
We're all set. So just want to talk a little bit about Jamestown.
Yeah.
Tell me, growing up in Jamestown, what are some of the fond memories you have of this town?
Wow. Well, I moved here when I was 9 years old from Worthington, Ohio, so it was quite a culture shock for me. In fact, my first day in school at Jamestown Elementary, which was in that building right there, Mrs. Lotman's class, Mrs. Lotman asked me a yes/no question. She said, Patrick, yes or no something, and I went, yeah. And she said, what'd you say? And I went, yeah. And she said, what'd you say? And I went, they do things different down here. And I said, yes. And she said, you say yes, ma'am, from now on. And they had me pull out of a jar a punishment, and the punishment for not saying yes, ma'am was they washed my mouth out with soap. And that was my first day of class in Jamestown, North Carolina, and I've been saying yes, ma'am ever since. And it taught me my values of respecting teachers, of respecting people in authority, and saying yes, sir, and yes, ma'am. And I hope it's a culture that we never lose in the rest of North Carolina. So I'm glad I got that culture at the age of 9. And it really had an impact on me. And this going to elementary school and then going to junior high and going to high school at Ragsdale, right up the street from here, helped develop my leadership skills, helped develop my values, and had an impact on the rest of my life. Jamestown's never left me. In fact, my first run for elective office was running for student body president at Ragsdale High School against 5 other people. And I was fortunate to win, and I'd never given a speech in front of anyone before until that happened. So you never know. Had that not happened, I maybe wouldn't be governor today. But I had some great experiences at Ragsdale and Jamestown Elementary and Millis Road Elementary too.
Well, you know, you were here growing up.
By the way, one other thing I do want to mention, I came from Ohio when I was 9 years old, and it was the first time I'd ever been in an integrated classroom or in an integrated school. In Ohio, I had no interaction with African Americans. It wasn't until I moved to the South at the age of 9 that I attended an integrated school, which was completely contrary to what you read about. But Jamestown was actually a very integrated, small mill town. where you had a lot of racial integration, you had a lot of wealth integration, and it was a community that was very supportive of this town. It had a sense of community and a sense of an all-American environment, and it was great going to school here, and you know, everyone went to the Ragsdale High School football games, and there was a real sense of community here when I came, and that stays with me today. Jamestown always stays with me.
Well, and you were here, you know, many years ago growing up, and now today, there's been so much.
Wow.
What a transformation.
We've got a stoplight now.
I mean, what is it like for you to see?
Well, I
what
tell you,
Jamestown
first of all,
represents?
I'm very pleased that the small stretch of downtown Jamestown didn't tear down the old buildings and kept the old mill intact, which I think still has great potential. And to see retail come to downtown and restaurants coming to downtown Jamestown, and seeing that the school, the Jamestown Elementary School or the old Jamestown High School, has been preserved, I think really shows respect for the current and past leadership of this town. It's becoming more of a suburb now of High Point and Greensboro, but it retains its sense of community and values of a small town while being a major metropolitan area. And when you go through Jamestown and High Point Road, which really divides Greensboro and High Point, when you get to Jamestown with the white picket fence of the Ragsdale homestead, you see the high school, you see the old, you see Town Hall, you go, wow, a small community within a large metropolitan region. It hasn't lost its uniqueness. And that's where they've walked that fine line by continuing its economic prosperity, but they've preserved the quality of life of Jamestown, which make a lot of people want to continue to stay and raise their family here.
Why do you think small towns are so important to North Carolina?
Small towns are the values of North Carolina. They bring a certain sense of respect, they bring a sense of community, they bring a sense of family that we cannot lose in North Carolina. And they're important for our economy, but the small towns are our greatest challenge in our economy because Jamestown used to be a mill town, and that mill didn't always succeed. It closed, and the Industrial Revolution, which really opened, which made Jamestown one of our oldest towns in North Carolina, the oldest town in this region, was built on manufacturing. And what's ironic is now manufacturing's coming back, and that work ethic is still here, and that work ethic of our small towns is what we're now selling to bring manufacturing back to North Carolina from across the world. And so I'm very pleased that it's coming back in time for the work values to still be here from previous generations.
What do you think other small towns can learn from what Jamestown has done?
First of all, what Jamestown has done that other towns can learn from is preserve your history, preserve your values, preserve some of your old historical structures, and retain a sense of community. And also connect with other parts of the region. One thing we've learned is a small town cannot live on an island by itself. And Jamestown understands that to survive in the future, they cannot survive on an island by itself. It has to have a strong connection with the surrounding cities and of High Point and Greensboro and Thomasville and Kernersville and Winston. And there are a lot of people who maybe work in the larger cities, but they want to retain their home right here in Jamestown. And that means we can, in North Carolina, have the best of both worlds. We can have the big city opportunities of Greensboro and High Point, Winston-Salem, but you can retain a sense of community by both living and working in Jamestown. And that's the best of North Carolina, to have the best of big city opportunity, but retain that small town values like we have in Jamestown. And I was fortunate to have both, and it had an impact on me of being mayor of Charlotte. In fact, as I looked at Charlotte, there were a lot of mini Jamestowns within the Charlotte 280 square mile city. And what I wanted to do as a mayor was retain some of those old industrial mills and in old industrial center cities within the Charlotte region. And it's become a marketing tool to retain a sense of small community even within a large metropolitan area. Because everyone looks for a small room to to really relax in. No matter how big your house is, people want to find the corner that best suits them. And I think that relates to North Carolina too. No matter how big we get, everyone's going to be looking for that comfortable corner room where you can relax and you can enjoy company, and yet you have a great future ahead of you. And that's Jamestown, North Carolina.
And you said Jamestown's always gonna be home for you.
Yeah.
Is it a different home now than it
No,
was?
in fact, I was here about, I came here several months ago and I went to the old basketball gym. That's probably from the 1930s. And the smell hasn't changed, and I shot a few shots. And I went back to 5th grade. And there are not many times when you can go home, but when I come to Jamestown, I'm going home again, and it's a great feeling. And yet I'm not far away from anything. And that's what's so great about North Carolina, is that we have these small towns, but we're attached to major metropolitan areas which provide us further economic opportunities. And that's the best of both worlds of North Carolina.
Fantastic, great, we're good,
Good deal.
Thank you.
thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mayor. This guy's doing a heck of a job.
Good. Very good.
Did I answer the way you wrote him?
Now, Mike is gonna just,
Already have.
you got enough?
Oh, wait, if there's something happens outside, I'll shoot it.
Okay.
If it's legal?
Governor
No
wants
problem.
to meet our town manager.
Hey, Pat. Nice to see you. Very nice to see you.
Good to see you.
here. Are you gonna take a walk or what?
Yeah,
What do you wanna
whatever
do?
you guys
Already
want.
got it.
Fantastic.
Head
Go,
outside.
go.
And the lady sitting in there want the Ragsdale.
Look at that old gas station still there. It's closed now, though. I'm so glad they haven't. All my high school graduates. Thank you. Appreciate it. Oh, the pool hall. Oh, no, the pool hall was upstairs here.
Yeah, above Sadie Mae's place.
Right above Sadie Mae's was a pool hall, and that was about the only thing you did in Jamestown.
He said
was
it didn't
that
take long to
it-
get it shut down.
It was, that pool hall was pretty active in high school, but
Yeah.
my parents wouldn't let me go to it. I got to see it one time, and my parents said that's the last time to go to the pool hall.
Yep.
But we used to hang around that gas station. You'd just stand around there. I had a couple buddies that were pump gas there. The buses haven't changed. I mean,
Oh, exactly, and really we do.
Sadie Mae's was the place later on. I've heard of that. And I've sat out at another restaurant down here.
Yeah, Porter's, that's a nice place. As is Southern Roots.
Southern Roots. I've eaten at Southern Roots 2 or 3 times.
Yeah.
Last August, I went back there around.
It's
I
all
went to Southern
gravy.
Roots today. Right in the back there, they got a nice backside pool.
Oh, yeah.
For sure.
I want to show you our new,
Yeah.
if you got a second, I
Yeah.
want to show you